Oh, you want to, oh, you see, down, straight, where the car is, and then, turn right, go, run about, oh, if you know the,
oh, please.
Go, if you know.
I don't know, please.
Okay, there, be patient. How that?
Oh dear. Mikki Osei Berko, aka Uja. Offer, remember
Yeah, Ofasi. Yeah, Mijoso.
how are you doing, boss?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Yeah.
I thank the day that I thought I should bring you to Accra. The day they thought of getting me from Tepa.
Glad to see you again. It's great. And this interview feels it feels funny actually.
Yeah.
It feels funny. But let us speak from the beginning. I mean, I remember we go as far back as Radio Gold, taxi driver,
Yeah.
and possibly acting thing.
Yeah, it started from way back. I think it brings back to mind what we should do because when I was in class 5, the district had inter-schools drama. There was this inter-schools drama competition. And then class 5 teacher, Mr. Hassan, I remember he's still alive, organized us to perform in that contest. Apparently our school won. Wife lost a ring and somebody found it. The king was supposed to give his part of his kingdom to the person. At the door when the person was coming to the king's palace, the security man of the king threatened that if you don't give me half of what I want, 200 lashes instead. He has somebody to share with. So that was a play. It was interesting. So it won. Apparently, because I was the main character,
Yeah.
I was looked at as the best actor at Untitled Secondary School, Brie. That's where I had my secondary education. And there too, I had the opportunity to do science because I was quite good in mathematics. And now weekends, me check girls, no maths, no more brain. I eventually that I'm an arts person. Even at that time, when my friends were in the science lab having practicals, I would be in the dining hall rehearsing with some of my mates to perform at entertainment. Eventually, I became the entertainment prefect.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's a year before I also became the entertainment prefect of the same school.
Okay.
So Adonti Secondary School is producing some creative guys in the system. Remember
Sharp.
that? Mama Koki Kusna, I'm Jama Nundodo.
Let us not spoil the
Okay,
conversation.
no, I was
So,
so on and on and
Yeah.
on. I went to teachers training college, and then whilst I was in the teachers training college, I started organizing this inter schools. Idea to put them together because we're having the vacation class at IMS Newtown.
Yeah.
Anytime after classes, we stay together as teachers, have conversations, probably for them together. We started rehearsing, and then we got into stage performances. Eventually, the Royal Theatre Performance Group was born. We got on TV theatre, and then from the Royal Theatre.
I remember that was yourself, Mufti Dabre.
Yeah.
Mufti Dabre was also
Yeah,
the,
it was,
the late Mufti Dabre.
Osofagos,
was also there.
Patafakwa,
Ogundipe.
Ogunipe.
Yes,
You
that's
know,
Colin
so
Sajiman
these are all guys from that theatre group. And
Was Taxi Driver your first television breakthrough?
yes,
Or were there other shows prior to that?
I'd done TV theatre before Taxi
Yeah.
Driver, but like you said, it was the first television breakthrough because it's a very great filmmaker. Came to a studio I used to work at, and we're showing a previous stage performance that I'd done.
Yeah.
And when he saw it, I was performing on Aigbeman's role in the play. So when he saw it, was like, who is this guy? That time in the play, I had a beard on and a bit disguised.
Yeah.
But he was like, hey, this guy good. Where he did?
Do it, let's see.
Oh, my brother, what are you trying to say? Haven't you realized that I'm the grandson of Togbumanya from taking the Vota region? Huh? My wife able to do it. I said, yes. I said, okay. There's a role coming up in a show we are building, and I would want you to try a role. Apparently, that was just the character was written for just one episode,
Yeah.
and then
People used to debate on Radio Gold.
yeah,
Kokonza.
if we could concern.
Was that you?
Yeah, it was by the grace of God. I'll say that was my brainchild.
Interesting.
Yeah, something that God sent to me on my late afternoon drive show. I needed to put segments on it, and after a long while conversation with God, he gave me part was something you can never miss.
Yeah.
So one day I went there, and I gone to the loo, and that was the first time I saw that people had fake boobs and all of that. Because some girl like that, yeah, the girl had come out and talked about it on my show,
Yeah.
abroad on Radio Gold, and the Ewe accent came up because I've been there, attended school and all of that. So that I need to find something else to say. After a couple of weeks, my boss comes and is like, I've heard that you have been saying some nonsense on the radio. I said, listen. So that's how Kokonsa
Was
born.
born. That's an
Acting, I'll say. Yeah, but at the point in time, I had interest in radio, so I tried. Uh, I did something on Voice of Legon,
okay.
yeah, Variety Entertainment.
Yeah.
And whilst I was there was a producer at GBC FM, Diamu. I was poached at the afternoon Variety Entertainment. So I was hosting that. Then I realized that, wow, radio could be another area I could venture into. So then Atlantis came up. So I went to Big J to find employment at Atlantis Radio. And he said, of GBC, who was the head of training at the time, to train us. So we did some 16 weeks training. We were about 10 of us at GBC. And after the training, we came and Big J picked just 2 of us, excluding myself.
Wow.
So I went to Choice FM at the time. Mr. Tommy and Alphonsine was the head there. Remember an application letter, not my secretary, but my name's King Kanye there. And this time I met Mr. Bafuboni.
Yeah. The
He
late.
says, what can you do? I said, too, I can do something. He said, go and do something. I mean, what do you call it? A demo.
A demo.
Sally, straight me fat trot about Newtown. Guy be a corner, baby. Or born you make a sabusu. Serious. Then I took it back to him. And
Yeah.
very, very instrumental in the little success that I chugged on radio. I mean, he was my big brother. He was my coach. He was often there for me. Kwame would take me out to have lunch and tell me the things I did right, things I could do better, and all of that. So that's important
tight.
to take note of.
That's tight. That's tight. It's been a long journey.
Yeah, it is.
Since then, it's been a very, very long journey.
Yeah.
I'm not going to weave myself. I mean, years after Taxi Driver.
Yeah.
What inspired it?
Yeah, after Taxi Driver, I thought that character was still interesting. And I didn't have influence on whether Taxi Driver could come back or not. So I adopted it in a new series called Dada Boat, and that's how that one too was born. The difference was that Master Richard has been a Bintu, or is a Bintu,
Yeah.
and he's back. But this guy wants to go now, but making himself look like he's a Bintu. So that was the difference in that. So Dada Boat also came up. I think it was
Miss Taxi Driver more, or did people readily accept Dada Boat? What kind of feedback did you get?
right. I have 2005
Yeah.
Research International report on TV content.
Yeah.
And for me, that was a level of success at the time, even though I don't think at the time it was well produced, because eventually I needed to gather a lot more knowledge in filmmaking. But I think it made a mark. But I believe that with life, one day that both together.
You left Ghana for quite a while.
Yeah.
Where did you go to? And
To
what were you doing
England.
there? To England?
Yes.
To do what?
To survive.
Into another interesting part of your story, the challenges. If you say you had to leave Ghana to survive, was it that bad, that hard in Ghana for you to make it?
Yes, it wasn't, I wouldn't say that bad. I wanted to learn more about what I was trying to do. And also, I needed to raise a family too. And all of these things played together at the time that I had to be. They were little at the time for me to be a part of their lives. And the fact was, I also wanted to raise them over there, you know. You know, I keep telling my kids they are not the situation. I did some football coaching. I did some filmmaking training. So these are things that I did whilst I was there, and I kept my family together for a couple of years as well. So
You've spoken
at the moment,
Eh?
because as I talk to you, there's an auditioning.
But
I'm not a polygamist. But
okay,
I'm hosting auditioning.
you're auditioning for a wife.
Probably it could be. It's possible. I won't sit here and claim what I am not.
Are you married?
But I can't say.
So how many children do you have?
I have 5 children.
From one mother?
4 from a mother and 1 from a different mother.
Okay, you know what I thought you
And I've adopted 2 of them as well, so they're 7 as well.
when you said 4 from a mother, I thought you were going to say and 1 from a father.
Yeah. 4 from my mother and 1 from my. I was trying to.
Eh?
Yeah, that's the truth. Hey, hi. I don't see you.
You were trying
I
to.
was trying to. I think she's a lovely yes, be with you. Be a So yeah, I think that. But I made some moves. I tried to make some.
So you like Gloria Safo?
Yeah.
You want to marry Gloria Safo? Right about now. In the studios, we've got Uncle Kennedy. Uncle Kennedy is host of Jazz on Joy and Ken's Music Mix every Thursday evening from 8 p.m. till midnight. And then Jesse Amwejepoint, CEO of Ifiba Consult and Marketing Communications Expert, CIMG Award winner. Kwame Ajimabeko, is he your brother?
Yes.
The Rastaman sitting there. He has a CEO of 3 Music Networks, Sadiq Abdullahi Abu. Gentlemen, my uncle is in the studio. Uncle Ken, since you were here first, I think it will be best only fair we start with you.
Yes, it's very, very, very.
Uncle Ken,
nice.
before you go on, have you seen Kwame's post on
Which
Facebook?
one?
The one on Facebook regarding the Kriapem Polo.
Which one are you talking about?
The one on Facebook, we'll discuss it later. Let's go on with Mikki Osei Berko.
Yes, Mikki.
Yes, sir.
Somebody I have known from afar, if I can put it that way, you know. And then I happened to have met him here at Multimedia for a very brief period.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, then he came back. During my interactions with Kwame Rasta, I found out that they were brothers.
Yeah, they are
Their
cousins.
mothers,
Yeah.
okay, from
Yeah.
the
From the same stock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
line. And I found it very interesting. Oh, Kwame, I think so.
Yeah, that's why he came in.
No,
Can we women? Can we?
he's been somebody I've liked from afar. He's very. Earlier I saw him. I told him that his latest advert
For Kafam, please.
For-
mention it.
Yeah, the Kafam advert.
the cover.
Yeah, the one with the Jesus guy.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
It's
Very creative.
It's a very, very,
Very creative.
you know, interesting act
Yeah.
and well thought of. I was thinking that in your conversation, you would raise issues about something I read about a couple of weeks ago that he had said about celebrities. I don't know if Facebook that was attributed to you, that celebrities of today do not live real lives.
What I said. But real life, as in they're living fake lives.
Correct. Something to that effect.
Yes, I think so.
You did say
I don't
something.
know for which context I said
Yeah.
that, but I think that for now, even if you raise it, I still because most celebrities in Ghana are very poor.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
That
Yeah,
was the
I think
point.
that was what I
Thank
also
you.
read. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Can we open Justice Mike, please?
It was
Yeah,
from that
yeah.
perspective.
Yeah, most celebrities
You
in, to attend shows and all of that. It means that they are not where they want
They
people
wanna
to
be.
believe they are.
So it's
And
all
you
make
agree
believe.
to that sort of
Yes.
thing happening?
Yes. No, I agree. No, I don't. But there has to be a revolution in able to afford the credits and all of that. So they die in poverty. And those who are able to do that will also continue to do that to sustain their fake lives, and life goes on.
So I think you made reference to taxi driver.
Yeah.
And so, like I always do, I probably might situate it within the particular context.
Yeah.
I think that time, I think that time again was a time where content creators also tried to highlight heritage a lot.
True.
And our folklore exhibition was very, very high.
Yeah.
Yeah. And therefore, we're beginning, maybe it was a transition where we're moving from the heavy D, the American rich music content into local content. And language appreciation was also growing. Because we seem to be living in a community where collectivism was the order of the day.
Yeah.
So even Taxi Driver was situated within a communal setting.
Exactly.
Family structure was very, very pervasive. And therefore, even for him and you, he was your wafa.
Yes, he was.
And therefore, that concept was very, very clear. So
yeah.
what Master Richard represented for many of us was system and bringing everything together. And so for me, it was very real. And I appreciated that up until now. The final thing that I would add is how the Richard, but from an actor to a brand icon to a social influence, and he never grows.
Yeah.
So he's reflecting his contribution to our growth.
There's one aspect that hasn't been mentioned, but
tell me.
we will bring it up.
Okay.
You know, he was an assemblyman at some point.
Stop it.
This man nearly got me beaten in Kotobabi one day. Your uncle, he was an MP, ran away. The boys won't beat me. Say,
That means the whole article, man.
That's-
You realize that culturally he hasn't changed.
No, he hasn't. He hasn't at all.
So if we need to do anything within a cultural space,
Exactly.
like he
He fits it
represents
perfectly. Point in some radio station.
And we were fired. Okay, no. Okay, we're fired on one, and then the other one we fled. I hadn't thought of that bit of our past, you know, until you just mentioned it. Yeah.
Which radio station was that?
Edinkra.
Yes, it was
Live
around
FM.
Tessan. Was it
Yes.
around Tessan or something?
Yes.
That was what we
Yes.
played.
Yeah. You were working with DJ Blue at the time.
And talk about him. It's for me it's an honor to be that close and to see the effort, the sweat, and Jesse just spoke.
Yeah.
What hit me hardest was knowing that I keep on tells me that yo, you can do this.
Yeah.
You have to do this. He once told me that, listen, we are too talented. It sank like until the day I transition. I'll never forget that. So, for me, being that close and experiencing everything. Listen, something as you call it trivial, food. If food chop 2 years of this man go fit resurrect the food with some things, make we chop. I dog some girl because she threw some food away from her house. I dog her one time. And it is because of the training
That you had.
I had from
Mickey.
him say, yo, whatever the food be, you know, we for
relationships also.
I beg
if
you,
you
I
have
beg you, I beg you, I beg you, keep him. Don't text me.
It's a whole Hollywood movie.
I beg.
It's a Hollywood movie.
For me, if this is not testament to
Yeah.
the core values of a man, a legend who is never fading out, for him to have forayed into England, everything about film, come home wanting to stick to the standards of filmmaking, all the specialized areas. If it is not there, he's not on. It is $1 to let him influence brands across generations. Charlie, that's a living legend.
That is a living legend indeed. Then that is the man, Mikki Osei Berko. Sadiq.
Yes, I mean, I was just telling him again, picking from Uncle Ken left off,
Yeah.
tell him about how compelling it's been on for some time. In arts, everybody will tell you it always thrived on fresh blood. You know, it's difficult for people to really reinvent themselves and to continue to stay relevant to the space.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's something that I've seen him do. Take a step back,
Effortlessly.
learn, come back, and he's made himself very, very, very a case study. I don't know how he does it, but did you always thought through these things and pictured yourself doing these things and staying relevant? How do you reinvent yourself in the first place?
Yeah, I didn't know Jack. Even though I had a series on TV that was doing well, I look around and like, no, if you want to do this, this is not where you have to be. You have to always, for me, it's about just begun. for me, you understand? Because at the time that probably I thought I started, it was on the wrong footing. I needed to really stand up and build from scratch. So we are in early days to get to that level.
Are you looking to extend what you're doing for brands and the digital world to film generally in Ghana?
Yes, I started making film long ago. Like I said, I made films even before I started Dada Boat. You know, I started way back. You know, and gaining more experience and education through that, I have to do better. What I've come to realize is that it has to do with budget to write around things that are around you, things that are available for you to use and make your thing look consistent. That's what I'm trying to do. But then again, if we're able to fetch budgets,
Funds from the state, for example, if the film fund was available. Is this something you're looking forward to?
yeah, if it's available and it doesn't have to be whom you know before you get it, I think that you know.
Oja 111997 05511119997, or you can interact with us via social media. Go to Joy 99.7, that is at Joy 99.7, hashtag Showbiz A to Z. You can drop a message on Facebook or on Twitter. We'll read them right here on the show. On Facebook, we are streaming live, and you can definitely be part of the show. Look for Joy 99.7. Hey, Mikki. Master Richard with 3 exclamation marks. He was an assemblyman at some point to Newtown or Kotowabi or Pig Farm somewhere, right?
Caprice, Newtown,
Yeah.
a part of Allah.
George, do you know one of the residents, prominent residents of that area? Ras.
Exactly.
Ras was my campaign manager.
Oh, really?
Yes, he was the chairman of the campaign, my campaign team.
Interesting.
We were hustlers campaigning. So.
But you won.
Yes,
And why did you run away? Did you finish your term?
No, I did education and all of that. You know, so just after my term, I left.
Okay.
You understand? It was 4 years of getting to understand the local politics of our system, how it works, available, the solutions.
Yeah.
Where, you know, we worked at the assembly. I was a member of some subcommittees at assembly.
That was for the NDC, right?
No, I didn't
Or was it
contest any
assembly is
political.
not-
Oh, you didn't contest on NPP
NPP. So I was more looked at as an independent
candidate.
candidate, you
Okay.
know, because I think the NDC and NPP are the same brothers from different mothers, but the course of something. Yes.
Right now, there's nothing to change.
No, if that, there are a lot to change, but what I'm saying is that if my ability
Yeah.
in that regard can help change something,
Can make us major topics for the day, which I think it would be nice that you're a part of. We're looking at the impact of some of them old television shows, the impact they had at the time, vis-a-vis what should I being exposed to today, and how the kind of effect it could have on their future. Jesse rightly articulated about some of the shows that we had and the cultural nuances that were in there and the impact substance.
it has all over the media landscape. Radio, same. Like I mentioned earlier on, you couldn't have been on radio without any form of training. But now everybody jumps on. We are watching foreign programs. When I was growing up, it's either Osofodazi or Bra or something that's very, very educative. Are you getting what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I'm getting
Very,
it.
very educative. You can either go out of the line and go to that has that level of impact. You understand? And even people who were working within that industry, the policymakers were in their small ways motivating them, helping them to grow these things. You understand? And we are broadcasting made in Ghana goods by made in Ghana goods. But major times we're using the peak hours on television to teach the people to wear Mexican goods and Indian. You have to be that. Ghanaian culture is about that. We have this law here and this law there. Meanwhile, we're showing content, peak times on TV that is showing that has lesbians and homosexuals in it living their lives. So I don't understand. Maybe somebody would want to explain to me. Well, if we don't understand that mathematics, then we have to go back to the drawing board and start it afresh, because I don't know where we are going. The media tells the people do that, and the people are saying that, oh, this is what we have to do. It's not working. And that is why we are in a confused state.
Very
We don't
interesting.
know what exactly we're doing.
Pretty interesting. Uncle Ken, I kind of like where Mikki has started from, but our global village is becoming even smaller every day. And thanks to modern technology, today you can speak to the world in seconds and all those things. Is it really that bad if we are consuming content from Mexico, from India, from whatever on our television states? Does that erode the role of parenting at home? Should we blame it all on television?
From what has made clear what is happening now.
Yeah.
And you, on the other hand, is also reiterated by saying that this is a global world. Everybody and things are evolving. Technology is taking. We were watching Osofudazi. I mean, I watched Osofudazi from.
We all did.
Yeah, back
we all
in
did.
my day, you know.
Yeah.
Avenue A. I don't know if anybody here watched Avenue A.
It's only.
And we were still watching foreign imports
Yeah.
like The Saint,
Yeah.
Hawaii Five-O,
Hawaii 5-0, Old Fox.
those things.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
Skippy.
that's your time. And these
Uncle Ken in
shows,
time, be the bond of 1844.
that's when we signed it.
There was no video. They didn't watch videos.
Don't mind. He's free to do it.
Commander Hill Sunday.
I'm sorry.
But I like the bit where he made the point that we sit on radio and we chastise these things happening. Yet, that's the seriousness of it. Are we really sure of what we want to do? That was his point. Because it looks like I find it very difficult to see how parents of today manage children. It's serious, George.
Yeah.
Back in my time, we didn't have any phones. You know, if you wanted to make a call, you had to go.
Yeah.
There were no comm centers back in my day.
Okay.
It was only post office. You know, the phones that
You'd go and wind.
wound up.
Yeah.
You know, picked up and then made a call to
Yeah.
somebody.
So, I think
Do
once.
you know what a telegram was?
Oh, yes.
You go to the post
You
office.
go to the post office and then it comes through. And then.
And
Yeah.
they send a telegram
send-
to whoever you. And most telegrams were sent when in cases of death
Yeah.
of a relative.
And that was the one that they counted the.
Most of our time was spent on reading books and journals, stuff like that. That is why people of books and so got well versed in the language. You know, if you realize people of today, because of the prevalence of short,
Most of them speak well, but when it comes to the
when it
written,
comes to the writing,
that-
and-
there's
but
a
that even
problem.
happens in
Yeah.
England.
Yeah.
You meet
Yes.
somebody in a bank in England,
Yes.
and he tells you, "Hi, mate, can you fill in my from
doesn't
his
even know how to
account?"
spell 20
but he doesn't
probably.
know how to write it, but he speaks brilliant
Yeah.
English. So it happens, and I think that parents, like you said, but the parents do not have time. People tend to blame parents for the upbringing of children today. I think that they're not being fair in the sense that the parents themselves do not have time. Back in my time, a mother might be at home looking after the children, getting the children ready to go to school and everything, and the father goes to work. So you had someone organizing the home entirely. But today, mothers of today also work.
Yep.
And the time is limited to do a lot of things. And the children home. And maybe some of them are even asleep. You know, so it's difficult. It's difficult. And I think I can't say it's bad,
Yeah.
and I can't say
You
it's
can't say it's good either. It's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Vision. Do you think that media owners are the ones who are actually failing us? Because what Mikki said is actually quite real. How do you, in one breath, say you're condemning the LGBT agenda, and then your network is showing something that's got LGBT stuff in there, and you don't see anything wrong with that?
But you're not responsible
You-
for that. It's the LGBT.
But Uncle Ken, shouldn't that rather be when you're buying the content, you don't know what you're buying?
Hey, George,
I'm asking, shouldn't you know what you're buying?
It's a difficult thing.
Rasta. Yes.
So, yes, the buck stops with the owners, BT.
Yeah.
Now, I would even shift to cite another example of cultural influence. Attire,
Yeah.
apparel.
Yeah.
If owners or owner of straight away, that is boosting a wing or a sector of economy.
It means 6 of us won't be here, including the producer of
Do
the
you
show.
understand? Now, if this were sustained, I mean, look,
Yeah.
which President Kufuor instituted, the Friday Way.
Yeah.
So if this were something which was backed by law, that henceforth everybody, let's reduce the scale. Multimedia alone, kids can or people are watching. When you're idle, when you see Mikki in his batakari, you see Jesse in his whatever jalabia, and it influences the larger conversation and revenue, and everybody would get what it is that is shaping our cultural values for better or for worse. I say that yes, it is them, and so we can, if we agree that it is them, if not in prison, in a church, anywhere, we know where to find them, and have that conversation. That guys, you guys are the gatekeepers, proper gatekeepers, who can shape the next conversation with regards to what ailed, and that we need your support. This is not, I mean, it's a conversation, but really you play an important role.
But
To-
Kwame,
yes,
can I
sir.
ask you a question?
Please do.
Will we not be the same people to ask these media owners? You have made a very good point. But if you try to actualize the point that you have made, we same right owners on this earth will come and say, but how can you tell me what to wear?
Maybe I should clarify that bit.
You hold on.
Forget Sadiq.
Hold
Let's
on,
answer
hold
my
on.
point
Hold on. Yeah. Uncle, can you finish your point then?
Yeah.
Because Jesse has to come before we come to Sadiq.
Yeah.
Trying to manage.
People, it will be because maybe we want to exert our influence in a manner which will be
In an evolving world, as you put it,
listen,
where now
when-
rights of individuals are paramount.
now hold on. If we wore an African print or a locally manufactured,
You mean like Mikki and Sadiq are?
do you understand? Gradually.
I agree.
So where would the opposition come from? And then you see the fury or the disgust or probably have their only social media pages to vent or to do you understand? But if media owners, with regards to content alone, because he cited TV, Mexican soaps and whatnot, as being media owners who will not be more than 100 or 200 out of 32 million people. We've identified these persons as persons who, if we have a conversation with, we make some tax exemptions. I mean, people who know better than I do are at the helm of affairs. So if what I am
The man is busy. His time, sure. Because we've taken us to a place that I like, culture. And if you've been following Mikki, you realize that his dress, every time you meet him in town, he's wearing something African. Then again, I remember he did something called Kente Radio. I don't know if he still did.
Last week. And my presentation won't change.
Yeah.
So what is socialization? Which is what I think Kwame had tried to reinforce. And
Yeah.
this is a definition I picked online. So it says that members of their society. Now, so at the core of the things that we learn within society are what you might call the norms, or what you might call the ethics. And basically, whether you call it morals, norms, or ethics, is event. Society begins to define what is right and what is wrong. So I can understand Uncle Ken's point in terms of how do you balance the rising interest of an individual with the. I picked 3 things, and I feel one of the 3 things might be what might be shaping us today, and that would take me to the content creation and its impact on our society. So the first one is group socialization. Now the theory around that says that it's a theory that an individual's.
Interesting.
So that's on the group socialization perspective. So when your child goes to school, my son will come home and say he wants to watch channel 135 or channel 3. So that's on the group socialization side. Then there's a gender socialization bit, which was pushed in 1999 by Hensling, contends that an important part of it is a father would go and the mother would take care of the kids.
Yep.
But we as a society, we've changed that. And we are saying that the women don't have to be at home. Rightfully so. There's a lot to do. So we've changed. The third one is cultural socialization, which refers to parenting practices that teach children about their racial history or heritage. And sometimes it's referred to as who influences the child in the child's growth. Is it a parent? Is it a group theory? Conversation is on puberty blocking.
Yeah.
And what's puberty blocking about? It says that even an 11-year-old who feels that his gender is wrong can teaching the kids this. This conversation is happening through Netflix,
Yeah.
through the movies, through the music. Every day, if you go to Netflix today, you would find all of the media in this. If the cultural base is wrong, George, the media would have nothing to do. Because the media must reflect what the culture is saying. So today, I see a journalist who would interview somebody who might be naked and say, I love your dress. I love the fact that you show A, B, C, D, and everything else is great. How are we fed? The group theory says that I showed my tits online and I bought a house in East Legon. What would you think the group theory the other girls will do?
Go
They
and show
their
tits.
So, parents knew before in shaping kids' mind has changed. So those days we had GBC and then we had GTV. We had to watch them. There's nothing else that we could do. We had I heard her singing a particular song. And the song was around Banku is a kind of food, sweet, like, and I was like, where is this from? And then she said, oh, it's Tegolo. It had a little bit to, and just to wonder. Then I realized that when she finishes, like if I give her educational content online to watch, and she's watching Count Apples, 1, 2, 3, when they advertise how to skip. So she would watch that entire content on
Before
YouTube.
she continues with the counts in the apple.
Now, and so somebody would say maybe she should be watching YouTube for kids. Also animated content that are wrong. So the question is this. Yes, the question is this. We need some control. But the question is, how do you control it? And you made a point the last time yourself. You said that why do we clamp down the media when the 7-year-old or 11-year-old has access to a mobile phone?
Yeah.
Good. So my put on the table would be this, that the cultural drive in shaping what culture would look like. In the past, yes. It's creative art.
Ministry of
it's
Tourism,
creative
Arts and Culture.
And culture.
Yeah,
Culture
and
is a part of it.
Yeah.
So I feel that there has to be a strong conversation shape our cultural dynamics. And how would individuals like, say, Master Richard or whoever is out there help shape the narrative? And so, George, for me, it's a big discussion that we need to affecting the kids today. Even we, the adults, the content has affected us. Even we all the boys in this room right now, if we live here and say, as an example, and if your outdoor content is online, you pick your phone in your car, you open
Thank you for saying the boys in this room, because me, I'm not a boy.
He has to be very careful.
Oh,
Because
relax.
But why is everyone in a hurry to issue a disclaimer?
why
Jesse,
you doing
please
that?
continue.
Why you
But
doing
go ahead.
that?
Yes.
please do.
Uncle Ken, I can find an example relevant to you right now. So, I'm done. But the thing is that if we the adults we are failing, how would the children survive it?
Quickly, then I'll go to Mikki. I mean, Sadiq, you are a content curator as well. I mean, a lot of the blame is looking at, from what Mikki rightly said, the blame is us. We are the ones who are failing our society. Was a certain man called Mr. Akoto. And you know why? Mr. Akoto was the one who loved the king the most. So you would set up. When Mr. Akoto was coming to your class, you knew the assignment was done. You knew everything. I mean, you won't misbehave. And then it carried on through to secondary school. When you hear that Mr. going to cane who? Where? The canes are out. In those days, you barely even were allowed to have a magazine in school. Today, they have mobile phones in school. So if these... Jesse, where's your homework? Oh, I forgot. I couldn't do it. What will you do? What at all will you do as a teacher? What will you do?
Unofficially.
Worst case scenario, you walk him out of the class. What you gonna do?
Unofficially.
You can't. What will you do?
Everybody pass.
You cannot do anything to them. Yeah. But in those days, would you even dare enter a class without. I don't think they even do mental anymore. Do they still do mental?
No, they still do.
Mental, but you
Some
don't ken
schools.
them. So what mental do you do? Mental, what made it do to help shape up
I
society?
mean, pretty much, unless, I mean, we all been impacted by, or be affected by the impact of global capitalism, I mean, so as to say. And then most importantly, we are recognizing that before possibly, and also due to the effects of globalization, everybody seems to be moving out to attract a more bigger audiences. I mean, it's commercial to have to do that.
Yeah.
And so, to a large extent, you are driven by the tastes and preferences of it in the space. And that's why a lot of academics, for instance, have made a point that until the state itself, I mean, the policy frameworks of that controls or regulates the media, regulatory and mass media and development, for instance, the amplification of it is not there. That will require the state taking the lead in not only instituting the laws, but actively funding some of these things. To compete with other content companies that are purely doing commercial stuff and earning the money for it. You can't. So ordinarily, if the state had really prioritized it and say that, look, we are consistently talking about this central digital transmission company, that as a state to say that the funding element of it will go to, help to push and prioritize kids content. Because if you leave it to us in the space, like I indicated, the impact of the increasing commercial nature of the media, heavily in radio, heavily in all of those things.
And
all the
online.
shareholders and everybody is on their neck to ensure that, Charlie, there's some return on investment. And the core thing is to, be able to garner the big from the likes of YouTube and co. And for you to be able to harness that kind of audience, you move away from the national scope content that you are doing to the international part. Because when I put a content on YouTube today, I'm looking to acquire said that, look, if the state had slept, we are not blaming anybody. We've gone through. If the state has slept all these while, this is the time. And thankfully, a number of new developments affords us the opportunity to be able to do so. I've just yet long overdue. Perfect time for you to be able to really sanitize and be able to shape up this thing. There's been a call for a media development fund that would help to empower local content creators, because all of them are being impacted by the commercial nature of the media. So, traditional media first is digital first. Digital first gives you opportunity to a bigger global audience as much as possible. So, like I said, the increasing commercialization of it and, the impact of global capitalism would impact everybody. We'll never see to
We'll
this
never
thing.
see
We'll
to
talk for so many years and we'll come back to
Let
this.
me go back to our special guest, Mr. Mikki Osei Berko. There are a lot of messages here. Before I come back to you to tell us about Kente Radio, let me take some of these messages. And the messages are coming in on 05511 Abuaje, where the people that brought laughter to our weekends, and this in this cold and lonely country. This one says, kudos to both you and Mikki, the likes of Papa Nee and all the stars on that show. You made us miss large listenership from the UK this evening. This one says, one sec. This one says, good day, Joy FM. Whoa, I'm stunned. Kudos to the team for inviting Mikki. Please ask him where he's been. We miss him on our screens. Legend Dampa Shemixin Yeboah, close to Glenn's, where Fifi Prada used to play. And tell him DJ Hallelujah of Miracle Mirage is listening to the show right now. Miracle Mirage, that's an old one. George on Joy, always great with all. And Dada Boat, your uncle, Shalom. That one is coming in from Kweku. This one says, good evening, George and team. I want to say a big thank you to Dada Boat for making us be celebrated. I'm an ardent listener, but hardly text or comment. However, with Dada Boat on the show, I have so many memories. May the Lord bless and keep him. And Abdul, that one is coming in from Abdul Hamid inside Oyibi. And let me say a very special good evening to my brother Kweku Owusu Asante, aka Pablo. Good to know you're also locked on 055 1111997. We'll come to that one shortly, Sadiq. Oja. Liner at Radio Gold, Mikki Uja. That's what they used to see.
Yeah, the fireman, you see.
And then you
The
had some,
original fire.
you had some jingle. Say,
Yeah.
play Nalande. How was that thing?
I can't recollect.
No.
well,
I
some rhyming in there. Yeah, you end it with you have to play front near
Yeah, trust seven.
Yeah.
Then you came back later and say play Nalande. Now so still yet a front.
front. Yeah, the empty front.
Yeah, G drink. Any extra how far? Any science what's not seven naka.
And
Showbiz Agency is probably powered by
2006. That's when I thought of putting an online radio together, and I'm a Pan-Africanist, so I wanted to have a musical rallying ground for black music in the UK. So I started a station that plays every South Africa. They were playing on the radio station, Kente Radio. Then I had to relocate, come back to Ghana. Then I thought that it was still a great idea, but this time around, associated with Club Beer to pull off something called Club Live, which was basically to revive high life music and how it's played live, high life music. And it was quite a successful show, high life music, and letting other people capture it and win Grammys and stuff with that. So then I said, if I want to revive Kente Radio, then I should start from home first.
Yeah.
Bring our music together, high life music. So Kente Radio, we are growing steadily. We are growing steadily.
You are a super role model, and in our next conversation, we are going to be speaking about role models. And this role model conversation came about with everything that ignited during the week. Somebody once argued strongly that once you are, so every decision, every act, every action, everything you do counts. Of course, the person was speaking in relation to Ikriapem Polo and the 90-day sentence that was passed on her. But prior to this interview, we hit the streets to speak to some people who say they are fans of yours. Take a listen to
I knew him through these adverts on TV and other commercials. So I think with what I know about him, I think that man is very kind, cool to be with. I've not been with him before, but with what I've seen around, I think he is a motivator.
I started, if I don't know, at almost 15, 20 years, because we used to live in the same neighborhood as Asalam down here. I know him very well. He was an actor before he joined MTN. So for my charity, I know he's not anything bad. He's a public figure, like someone who entertains public, because he's my role model.
Our radio, I think most of the people are even getting involved with what he's bringing on board, like the product is advertising and stuff. So he should continue with the good work.
Yes, so those are some of your fans right there. When you hear some of these things, how does it make you feel?
I thank God for His grace and favor, because I believe that it's only through that you can attain clout, Dada Boat. It feels fascinating. I always thank God for that kind of opportunity.
Yeah. So how you've managed to stay out of without blemish, no scandal, no nothing. I mean, nothing. How have you done it? I mean, is it that you see yourself as a role model and feel responsible to people that look up to you? You become role models.
I think that you need to understand what you're out to do. You need to understand that what you set out to do is public, and that you need to set good examples. But all in all, you need to be yourself. I'm a perfect person. No one is. You can have your problems, but make sure that it doesn't affect so many people negatively, or people like us entertaining, others, but back on our own is a difficult situation. But you have to learn to manage all of that together with what you want to attain, because it comes with it. You need to understand that the public is waiting especially to work out with. But it depends on you and what you intend to achieve, and live responsibly. That's what I try to do.
Exactly. When I come back to you, Sadiq, I would also want you to touch on that consultative meeting that was held, I think, was it yesterday or the day before, with the broadcasters, and how it ties into this content conversation that we're having. Kwame?
2 stories.
Go ahead.
Near
scandal.
world rated.
Scandalous
Okay,
level.
so there was this time that I went to his office and he was going through some papers. I looked at it and I was like, I say, what do you go take the gun do? I say, when papa na afraid do even son. I said, who be your do sir? So Ghana Actors Guild president. Metuno. Say, you think about the Actors Guild situation. I say the only way to fix the guild is through a coup. So he
go
buy
buy
the
gun.
gun. Now if I identify just shoot them, chase them out of the place. Because the election, you say they go feel mafia. So don't just do coup. Now we say Charlie, bra, fee, straight from mountains to Kaswa for pocket money. So they come on now they call nigga, you know the pig. That way he call me back. We say there's some hospital for the Kaswa area there.
Why? What happened?
Hey, what do you do for hospital? Somebody at the
Collect money.
He say, oh, make a come. Now I reach there. He say, oh, some accident. Then I still say the money for water inside. He's been involved in an accident. Then I rush to the hospital. Then he explains to me that some bikers jammed into him.
Oh, okay.
And he had to take them to
the hospital.
So we did there. He came out with tear. You know, you say
The
you
fall.
know, like
Yeah.
you see the way Bible described Job. Oh, Charlie, nigga, I was not in good shape.
Please stop using that word on my show.
Sorry. So now we were standing in the parking lot. He's been catered for by the,
Yeah.
Started laughing. Quack, quack, quack. Then the victim and him, like,
They were
everybody's
looking
saying,
at you
"Yo,
strangely."
what's wrong with this man?" And then he asked me who. I said, "Oh." And then I addressed the victim. I told him that, "Bro, you should be grateful." Then Mikki asked me, I'm ending up in the hospital. Unless I go the farm pluck a champion farm, they can take care of the injuries because
I've always known you have a mental
thank
problem.
God say pass him.
Listen to other conversations. I think Mikki has been a great role model. And if my child told me that, oh, Dad, I would want to grow up to be like Mikki Osei Berko, I would be happy. I wouldn't mind. But Uncle Ken, are you with me? Are you with me? Yes, great. Going parent that it is difficult for a child to look up to really anybody these days, or should parents actually help guide their kids into selecting role models?
For their children. And then as the children grow, having assimilated to their parents and their way of doing things, they can now looking out for other people who excel in their fields and want to follow them as role models. But then the question has always been that those people, some of them don't. Some of them do what they do for the sake of what they do and want to excel in it. I came across something, and that to
Uncle
me
Ken,
was...
take that again.
Yeah. The celebrity cult has to be sharply distinguished from hero worship.
Okay.
Now, you can hero worship, but you hero worship that person because of what he gives to you and how he makes you feel.
Yeah.
But he's not asking you to see him as a role model per se. Yeah, there are others who are celebrities, and they say celebrity worship may provide vicarious gratification to people who seek to escape anonymity. They seek to escape anonymity. Those people want to be noticed as well, and they are different from the heroes that we worship. So I think it depends on the child and his upbringing. He first of all sees his parents as his, and then as he enters into adults and he's looking at other things that people are doing. Because, for instance, if his father was a lawyer and the person wants to be a basketball player, as he grows, his hero will be... So I think that it all depends on the child and the atmosphere at home. It is very critical to have the need to explore his or her own world. If you do not allow the child to do that, he or she would develop. So I think that when we we look at this subject matter,
it to make it. And the fact that a lot of our celebrities are living in poverty, but they are not even, they are hiding it. So they keep incurring debts. Going by that, is it even safe to say your child can pick any celebrity up there to look up to? Let us even forget the concept of that. We all agree. Uncle Ken has rightly said that.
So George, I would, the first caution or statement that I would make is this: no role model can ever be a generalist. And some will make, but no role model is a generalist.
Generalist, you mean?
Yes.
Yes.
So you've got, let's say, George, you've got somebody who is a good person,
Yeah.
charitable person,
Yeah.
fantastic. Ended, George, by the fact that Mikki says, "I'm single."
Yeah.
And Mikki, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But somebody
I can't
might
get it
say
wrong.
that, or maybe you might pick like a pastor, let's say Duncan Williams or Otabel.
Yeah.
Picking him as a role model doesn't mean that his general well-being is everything that you must
You
pick.
might
So my
pick,
caution
yeah.
is that role models must not be seen as general. Of say, of two. There's a bit where my life as a young man might coincide with the ideals I see from Master Richard. Other side, George might see a point of convergence with his behavior
Yeah.
with him.
Yeah.
The question is this: that are there, because within every society, economic consideration is very different. So there are people who are living on credit
Yeah.
throughout their lives.
Yeah.
Yet the business or the sure. If
he
I
lives
ask
on
Sadiq,
credit. He lives on credit.
what is debt today? Sadiq might say he's probably sitting on a 7 million cedis debt.
He has
That he's
he has
paying
cleared it
small,
all. He has cleared it all. No, he doesn't.
That just repeats this thing to yourself. Showbiz. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Showbiz means that the nuances and the celebration and the things around you must be seemingly exaggerated to the extent that you get the attention.
Yeah.
So you have people living on credit. So I don't have a problem with you living on credit. And but the only thing is that don't, for me, communicate, be honest about the fact that I live on credit. It's fine, or anything else. Because if you find yourself at the part where the Venn diagram connects, and I say that, Charlie, I just made $10,000 today, and Charlie, $10,000 today, and my receipt from Bloomberg is saying $9,000. Now, the kid who's following you says, Charlie, me too, I get 200 Ghana cedi, right? Here's my $1 million contract that I got.
Yeah.
I promised myself a good time when I get the deal.
Yeah.
So I am picking 10,000 cedis of the one. So without knowing exactly what the deal is, and it looks as if everything is in a bubble. To be honest with you, before we got the American reality, growing up, all of us wanted to go to America because similarly, there's nothing.
No, but
No.
to the people you're talking about,
They do community
go
service
out
or
of their
when they-
way to ask people to see them as some people. Let me show you who those
Okay.
people are.
Go
There are
ahead.
Some people who have their channels and they say, I am here advising kids to do this and that, and they have a regular.
But they've still not said they are role models.
I said I'm a role model.
But those people who, if they go against what they preach,
See, Uncle
that
Glenn,
I have issues
Uncle
with.
Glenn, Uncle Glenn, respectfully.
I have issues with people who do that.
Okay, respectfully. A
Otherwise-
father will never wake the son up. The big pastors we have in Ghana today, they don't have to stricto sensu say I'm a role model. But they would say that live a good life, be great, take care of your wife. Like the way I take care of role models are not generalists.
Oh, I agree.
And number two is the fact that, look, there's nothing wrong with being in debt. But if you communicate riches, say you the ball or you the chill. But I mean, if you say, Charlie, this weekend I go hustle where I get 1,000 Ghana cedis, that's where the issue comes in. Because there are people who take things literally.
Then you put them on Snapchat.
You put them on Snapchat, say, Charlie,
Yeah.
Before this one,
Yes.
Sportlink.
Yes.
Nathaniel Ato had a beautiful conversation with two boxers. One is a boxer we've all known, Bukum Banku, and the other one is a relatively new boxer. In Bukum Banku's sub, speaking about how anytime he gets money, he shares it with his family and friends and followers in Bukum.
Yes.
Because these are the people that urge him on, that push him, that so. He doesn't have a house of his own. He has 13, did he say, how many children did he say he have? 13 children. You know, and all those things. You know, but he is poor. All he knows is, and all those things. So here's me listening to somebody like that.
Yes.
There could be boxers, and when you listen to the other younger boxer, you could see that he actually did look up to Bukum Banku.
Yes.
You know, and
He is.
he is a role model.
Yes, he is.
Okay. Now I'm listening to,
Because
Yes.
he wants
you know,
to be one.
No, not because he wants to be one.
Okay, maybe I'll come to that, but George, go.
You know, so as a parent.
Yes.
Then I get home. Then my son tells me,
I wanna be like
Daddy,
Bukum
I
Banku."
want to be like Bukum Banku when I grow up. What do I tell him?
Fair, George. So Bukum Banku is a Venn diagram of Bukum Banku. His position is different. Who's Bukum Banku? Somebody who demonstrates that creams for bleaching works. A political figure.
Fantastic boss.
Within our boxing set.
Space. Yeah, boxer. Yeah.
He's good.
He
my
is.
friend,
He
he's
is a
good.
good boxer.
He's good. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
So a fantastic boxer.
For his weight.
So that even if you come from the poorest of places, you can make an impact in Ghana. So if my son comes to me to say, "Oh, Daddy, I want to be popular like Bukum Banku," he hasn't said he wants to bleach like him. So I would say, "Why do you want to be?"
I
Okay.
agree.
And to the extent
100%.
that you assume that, then you say hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
Everything else must be
I agree
honky dory.
100%.
Let me bring Sadiq into the conversation now. Sadiq, I mean, this whole thing about, and I want us to focus strongly, primarily on celebrities, because the celebrity aspect of it is where the line is drawn. Because really, I mean, if people are choosing, if nobody knows you, nobody knows you. You understand? This is Selwyn. Selwyn does a lot of social media here. I don't think there's any kid out there that would say, I want to be like Selwyn, unless it's a family member who knows Selwyn. But there are names they are hearing every day. Mikki Osei Berko, Sadiq Abdullah Abu, Kwame Rasta, you know, and all Jesse Japong out for to guide their child in these days where for a lot of our female stars, nudity is the way to go.
I think the things that parents should zero in to direct their kids to pick some role models, it's positive social impact. I mean, you need to be able, and I mean, just as right role in, say, development or how they would go ahead to enhance, I mean, positive social impact. You know, so everybody is doing whatever they want. It's just few of them that understand that, okay, by virtue of what I'm doing, I've assumed a certain top of mind and a certain which would inspire a certain wave. You know, it's not everybody that has that. Alternatively, as well, you would get a few of them that seem to be conscious about these things and go the extra mile to ensure that, as far as when you don't want to be their first point of call when you want to be a role model at home, in directing. I mean, in my case, for instance, my dad directed my moral and religious and ethical element of my growing up. And then obviously, you know, I found
You looked out for some
I
of
looked
these
out for
things,
some of these things.
elements.
When it didn't
Okay.
connect, it didn't connect.
Okay.
You know, and so positive social impact is part of it.
Yeah.
And then obviously, one of the things we can do generally as industry is to begin to reorient and really be able to do certain things, because whether they like it or not, by virtue of whoever they are, they have a certain influencing effect on a certain demographics. And so it's important they live a certain lifestyle. But for, as a parent, key thing for you to look at, because look, the last time there was this girl, young artist. I think she won a competition or something, and then they put it on Hit FM. The moment I came there, I remember talking to the producers, and then I'm like, no, who brought this girl to be singing? Apparently, I mean, she looked up to Shatta Wale, for instance, but at her age, I think she was on some show like that, and I was bemoaning,
Yeah.
because that hardcore patwa that Shatta Wale ordinarily would do is meant for a certain demographic.
The
But if it's been
content
able to
itself, yeah.
it's been able to influence such a kid who's not even 8 years or 10 years.
Wow.
Right? There has to be a certain level of control, but she was accompanied by the mom. So yes, there are some parents that positive social impact.
You wanted to make a quick comment on the other issue, but before
Yeah.
you do that, this one says, from Notidria, says, role models should evidence or reflect societal values generally. Any undesirable spec compromises their positive impact, whether they mobilize followers consciously or not. Visibility is coming in from Notidria. This one says, wow, so a non-Ewe did the Ewe accent so good. That is the mark of a good actor. Kudos, Mickey. That one is coming in from Yao inside Lakeside. And this one says, good evening, Abuaje and your panel. The name is George Quaye. or Uncle Ken. Should we give them the news?
Master Richard and Awaji.
Good evening, Awaji and your panel. I think what GH is failing to do is know what time to show a program. Thanks. Prosper from Italy sent that one. What's the sponsorship scene and spectrum for local productions? Why don't our brands and content survive? That one is from Norte Dria. Yes, Sadiq, go ahead.
Yeah, so for me, I mean, just a bigging up. I don't know if the state was listening to the conversation we were having last week, but it was something that I realized happened within the week that I think it's a good one in sanitizing the system. I think this, as a first, is a very good way to go. A lot more of this and a lot more of this engagement, I think, will go a long way in,
Sadiq,
in helping to sanitize this.
when we say the presidency listens to this show, it's not just a boast.
But George,
It's a fact.
Sadiq,
Yes.
Don't also forget, personally, to the NMC,
Yeah.
to look
Which are the
at
ministers?
the information
Information,
minister. He had last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
And had repeated same this year.
Yeah.
Sometime this year. So it had been something that had been ongoing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it wasn't just, it just did not happen this week.
Out of the vacuum.
Out
It's
of the
something they've
vacuum.
been
But
doing.
it had
Regardless,
been-
I think that it's a good way to
No,
go.
no, it was
Yeah,
good.
I
It
think
was
that
good.
somebody,
I don't know what you're talking about. Offer. We're coming back to you, bringing our conversations to a close. Have you had any regrets in choosing this path so far?
Not at the moment. Though you'll find some few negative spots, like spots in the limelight. You know, you actually don't find people you can trust easily, and people also might not trust you easily.
Yeah.
So those are the difficult times. But apart from that, I've loved it, and if I'm born again, I would love to be an
You would
actor
love to do
and a
the same
filmmaker.
Great.
No, not in Ghana.
Just wrapping it up quickly. I mean, Ikriapin Polo got 90 days for nudity. What's your take on the sentence and then the entire issue?
Well, there's a positive side to it. There's a negative side. The positive side is that listening around to legal practitioners, you understand. So I think that it's opened a lot of eyes.
Yeah.
And it's sad that she is a scapegoat to tell us or to give us that kind of educational information. But then again, I also think that there are children who are undergoing more troubled situations than a Kwapin Polo will put a child, according by the law. What is happening to the parents of these children? I think that children who are begging for money and selling by the roadside and all of that, I believe that their parents is that much of a crime than those who let their children out there to beg for money, and children who are not able to go to school because their parents don't even care, some of them. I think that's what the social agencies should be looking out for. It's very important.
Yeah, very important. Kwame,
Kuse one. I hear they have a studio there that you could record a gospel. I mean, extra curriculum activities whilst you are in the cooler. But you see, George, I wish her all the best. We were in this studio, in this house. The other one, she wanted to be a herbalist, or what exactly it is that she meant. She said medical doctor. That moment, me, I knew that girl was trouble. Like, I mean, for a Kwapin Polo to look at my face and tell me that she wanted to be a medical doctor. I mean, it is Jade.
There's an emotional side of the discussion that people have walked on.
Yeah.
And there's also the legal side.
Yeah.
For me, I was confused when initially, and I saw that she pleaded not guilty.
Yeah.
And then went back to court and pleaded guilty. And in truth, if you listen to Samson's take earlier this morning, I think it sums up show for like 5 minutes or so. It would have been better. And once she's pleaded guilty, there's nothing the judge would have done. And Richard is right. There are lots of education that we ourselves have gotten out of this. Why have we not jailed them? The law doesn't work like that. So, and the judge can't jail anybody until there's a case in front of him. So if you feel somebody's also offended, content on what's on Twitter about Amralo.
Okay.
Amrado.
Amrado,
I think he's
the
a rapper.
Yeah, the rapper.
And to Sarkodie, and he took offense and he left.
Oh, wow.
Now, my thinking is that I feel that and I agree with part of the things he said.
Yeah.
Some decorum of respect. If Master Richard came here to promote his TV content and we are talking about things that are unrelated, I don't see how that builds value for him. And I'm wishing that after the ladies' own, the one who does the sexy songs, Wendy Shea. After Wendy Shea's own, this one has
If you don't want to talk about me, then let me go.
Let my content be more important than your gossip. So that's just my point.
Maybe periodically we need to do a lot more.
Uncle Ken, on the Kwapin Polo.
George, on this Kwapin Polo issue, stick vituperation.
Thank you. Shit.
And I just wish we could have had time to play back Samson's take.
Yeah.
As
we have it. Philip has
you
queued
know,
it.
I
We'll play a bit of
wish
it.
we had time.
Yeah.
I think that get to know what the proper matters are before we make our, suggestions
Submissions,
or whatever we want to say. Because there's been so much miseducation.
Yeah.
Again, I've learned words like mens rea. which
I
meant,
thought it was a typo.
you know,
Yeah.
mens rea.
Yeah.
And that's the intent
Yeah.
behind an action.
Yeah.
I've learned words like mala,
really,
prohibited,
really good.
and unlawful. Yes, but I had issues with some of
Yeah,
the
but
things he said.
it
Yeah,
was
of
good.
course.
It was good.
That's his
Especially
opinion.
on the men's rear side.
Yeah, that's his opinion, especially when he tried to delve into scripture and came up with things that happened in the Bible.
Yeah, Adam and Eve walked
Adam
naked.
and Eve
Ain't no
walking
way.
I'm sorry,
naked
I'm sorry.
and
Uncle
wanted
Ken?
to
Exactly.
get to know the details before
Yeah.
you make your.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Sadiq Abdullah Abu, Uncle Kennedy, Jesse Amo Ejepong, Kwame Ajimambeko, and Mikki Osei Berko.
Listeners as well.
Yes, it's been an honor.
And
Yeah.
Jesse here gave me one of my first jobs when I came back.
Oh, okay.
So I need to mention that.
That's important.
Yeah.
That's important.
So-
Jesse be solid
so
guy.
it's been-
Jesse be solid. Oh, yeah, thank you very much. We're gonna come to Samson's take, but let me just say special thanks to our sponsors in a minute. I5 Chukumol, that's the